Vindication!
Hello.
Hello, welcome to Not Another Who podcast. I'm your host, Sam Morrell.
And I am Christopher Hyde.
That was smooth.
Oh. Yeah, I thought I'd play the Vindication clip again because it's a favourite meme at the moment.
Favourite meme.
And hopefully we won't have any technical difficulties this week.
Oh yeah, like last week.
Fingers crossed.
Touch wood. I'm touching wood.
Touch wood. So how did you feel about? Do you want to give a one-word review of this amazing, groundbreaking episode? I have one. It'll have to be censored. Starts with an S, ends with a T. Can work out the rest.
Add 2 letters to it.
Yeah.
I don't have one word to describe it.
No. Well, let's get into the news while you think about that, shall we? Because there is a bit there is one glimmer of news that I've managed to find out. So apparently there is going to be a vinyl of Doctor Who coming out. Doesn't say when it will be released, but I'm guessing it will be released later this year. There is going to be a Jon Pertwee collection on vinyl. Demon Records is celebrating Jon Pertwee's flamboyant portrayal of the famous Time Lord 55 years after he made his screen debut on the 3rd of January 1970. Available on blue and green vinyl with beautifully illustrated artwork. This set represents Jon Pertwee narrating 2 classic Doctor Who target books, an array of bonus Jon Pertwee audio appearances, and his own 1972 pop single, Who is the Doctor? Doctor Who and the Curse of Peladon is Brian Hale's abridged TV novelization set on a medieval-style world, and Doctor Who and the Planet of the Daleks is Terrance Dicks's abridged adaptation of the Terry Nation adventure set on the jungle-like Spiridon. Bonus features are also included on each disc, spanning the 70s to the 90s, including BBC radio interviews, a Goodwood Races sketch with Elizabeth Sladen, comedy featuring Mel Mel from Bake Off, and tributes paid by family members and Doctor Who producers. This also includes a frameable photographic print of the 3rd Doctor, accompanied by the BBC Radiophonic Workshop's familiar Doctor Who theme. The Doctor Who Jon Pertwee collection celebrates one of the most stylish and iconic, beloved Doctors of all time. So that's exciting.
Yeah.
And I'm looking forward to that because not only do I like vinyl because it's great, but it's Jon Pertwee narrating a Doctor Who story. What more can you love than that?
Yeah. I'm gonna certainly look into that and may add it to my collection.
Excellent, as the Sidemen would say.
Excellent.
Right, now we've got that out of the way, I think we should address the elephant in the room and talk about Wish World. Great. So, where do you even begin with this episode? We were literally talking about it before we came on air. And our thoughts are not great.
No.
No.
It took a nosedive from this point onwards, I think.
Yeah, I think that what we were talking about and what we'll discuss is I think we both have similar views but from different angles.
Yeah.
Let's go over the basically traps are sprung and old enemies unite as the Doctor and Belinda finally arrive home to find a very different world. Can the Doctor see the truth before midnight arrives? Now, this isn't accurate to the episode because I mean the episode starts with a great prologue set in Bavaria in what was it, 1865?
Yeah, 1865.
And it's got a lot of seventh son of a seventh son, which is a popular magic trope. It's like folklore, fantasy sort of thing.
It's also a name of an Iron Maiden album. That's where my mind went, being a heavy metal fan.
You thought they were just going to start, well, yeah, Judas Priest. You just thought they were going to start, like, thrashing out, like, Iron Maiden. Like,
can I play with madness?
It's the only Iron Maiden song I know.
That's from that album, by the way.
Oh, cool! That's great. I'm glad I managed to reference it. And then the Rani arrives to basically kidnap a child. Which we find out later in the episode is what's his name? God of wishes, basically.
Yeah.
We've got a new pantheon god. Who seems to be the kind of more ridiculous. I've literally just seen your message. So yeah, then we have Rani taking away a baby who now she says she needs a stronger name like Sturm. That's it, Sturm and Drag, right? Drang. And I translated it from German to English, and it was like something of stress. Like basically, it didn't translate to what the actual child's name is.
Yeah.
So yeah, then Rani turns the woman into violets, the children into duck, and the father turns into an owl. Now, why or how, I'm not sure. It's never explained in the episode.
I was completely lost at that point. I was like, why is this happening?
Well, I just didn't understand how the Rani has these powers when the Doctor doesn't have any powers, nor does the Master
Yeah,
or any other Time Lords.
and she didn't have these powers in her original run
No,
in
no.
Mark of the Rani or the Time of the Rani
No.
or
And
Dimensions in Time.
or Dimensions in Time, which is the definitive Rani episode, as we know. It's the best Rani episode by far. No other Rani episode will ever come to the pinnacle that is Dimensions. I mean, Dimensions in Time is just the perfect Doctor Who episode. If you don't like it, there's something wrong with you, you know? Come on, it has the Sixth Doctor finally meeting the Brigadier. What can you say about that?
Did you see Review of Death's commentary on it?
Ah, phenomenal! Absolutely, like pure.
It made it so much more watchable.
Yeah. Yeah, perfect. You know, Rod gets it right every time. So then we go from the prologue to the Doctor and Belinda waking up in their house. Now, right, I like this setup of the Doctor and Belinda just being in this world, but we literally got no setup from the last episode. It was literally the TARDIS doors,
and they were just there.
Yeah. So I felt like the prologue, the Bavaria bit, although was very well shot, looked very nice, made absolutely no sense, should have been cut.
Yeah.
I think, honestly, this episode would have gone a lot better if it had just started with the Doctor and Belinda waking up in this world. I feel like I'm already rewriting this episode as we're reviewing it. That should be an episode. We should rewrite bad Doctor Who episodes. That'd be great. That'd be phenomenal.
Have you seen that Russell T Davies documentary on about his like career and all that? It came out a couple of years. Which one? Sorry.
Imagine.
Yeah.
When he's on the he's on this set. Yeah.
Yeah. He even admitted that most of his scripts are like one draft.
I hadn't watched that, but now you say it. Yeah. This could be why I tell people. Sorry.
This could be one of them examples. One draft and out.
Well, this is why, for example, I tell people, like, for example, my friend Robbie and we write a lot of scripts. And this is why I say that we can't just write one draft, because your first draft is your worst draft. That's my saying. Your first draft is your worst draft. You have to rewrite the script at least 2 or 3 times to get a better impression of how the script is.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah, I totally agree.
Sometimes a first draft can be great, but I personally think that the more you work on a script, the better it becomes. So this episode, having that back in the background, as you say, it kind of makes sense that it falls apart because if there was a few more rewrites, bits of the script would have obviously changed. I think that needs to be a discussion at one point. When do we have to give showrunners a little bit more of a kind of stern talking to and go, look, you can't just bash out one draft and think it's acceptable, because, you know, what's the point? What are people paying you for?
Why did I just have the first Doctor telling Susan, all you need is a jolly good smack bottom? When you said you just need to tell showrunners they need a stern talking to. Why did that pop into my head?
I think you're still stuck in the 60s, mate.
Yeah, probably.
You got to be more progressive than that.
Probably.
Anyway, then and also the Doctor and Belinda have a child, and it's Captain Poppy from Space Babies. Which I didn't dislike because I like the fact that they do tie it in.
I only just caught on to that.
What now?
Yeah, this minute.
Wow.
That's how much Space Babies mattered.
Well, to be fair, Space Babies is a terrible episode. Definitely one of the worst in Doctor Who history. But I kind of do like the callback because, you know, it's fine as a callback, and it's nice that the Doctor and Belinda. I mean, it kind of doesn't really work because Belinda never met the Space Babies, so, you know, if you maybe had Space Babies as like the first episode of this series, it would have made more sense.
Yeah.
But, you know, it is what it is. So yeah, then we have Conrad interrupting them. They're watching Conrad on the TV. And it goes into the titles. And then we have Conrad reading a book. Now, did you pick up on the book?
Yeah, it was like a Harry Potter kind of the original like print.
Yeah,
I think
so
it looked very Sorcerer's Stone, as the Americans call it.
The Sorcerer's Stone. Yeah, pretty much, bang on. Yeah, Doctor Who and the Deadly Wish. It was called. And it's basically meant to mimic the first prints of the Harry Potter books from the 90s and early noughties. And it's meant to I don't know why there's that comparison, because obviously Harry Potter's a controversial subject, you know, because of someone related to the show. Someone related to the franchise, but I don't know who, but someone. Yeah. I kind of like the idea that, you know, there's a Doctor Who book like that, but I just don't. Yeah, it was kind of just. I felt like it was a reference for the sake of it being a reference.
Yeah.
So then Conrad's reading this book. The Doctor and Belinda are getting ready for May the 24th. Ruby intrudes and asks if he's the Doctor. I think Ruby's the only one that kind of realizes at the beginning of the episode, realizes that something's not right. But again, we had no setup.
You
know, it's kind of Ruby just interrupts their day and just goes,
yeah.
Sorry, you the Doctor? But there's no setup. There's no. It would have been cool if Lucky Day was a setup to this episode, but it feels like Lucky Day and this episode are so different. You know, so vastly different that there's no reason why they should make sense. And then the Doctor and Mel is their neighbor, so that's cool. Mel is there. Then the Doctor goes to work. And I have to admit, there's the bone creatures.
Yeah.
Which
I said in a past episode they look like dinosaurs.
Yeah. Which today I'd say that they're kind of dinosaur-like. I'd say they're a bit more like the I'm trying to think.
You said they look like dogs.
Yeah, or like cats or something. I kind of think on a reflection, they've got a kind of what's that creature from Star Wars Attack of the Clones? You know, in the arena.
Yeah, I know what you're on about.
Yeah,
but I forgot what it is. What the name is?
It's those things that I mean. That's my impression. So yeah, Doctor goes to work, and instead of the Unified Intelligence Task Force, it's an insurance company, which is hilarious. And it's in this like 1950s style.
Yeah, with the bowler hats, and I like that kind of what's the word? Aesthetic.
Yeah, like retrofuturism.
Yeah.
But again, it's great, but why? You know, throughout the entire episode, all we're thinking is why.
Why is everything like this kind of thing? Yeah.
And this doesn't stop. Like, this doesn't end. The question never finishes. It just keeps going as to why, you know. So the Doctor and Ibrahim are talking about how Kate is interested in Chinese food and that Ibrahim could try and find a way. Gary Hewitt has sent in a message. Hello, gents. The old Rani was growing dinosaurs in her TARDIS, so I thought the bones reminded me of that.
Ah, yes!
Larry, you've saved us. Thank you so much.
It's been a long time since I've watched Mark of the Rani.
We need... Maybe that's the next... maybe we just don't do the finale and just do Mark of the Rani instead.
Yeah, let's do Mark of the Rani instead.
Gary, thank you so much for that. Yeah. maybe it is a reference to Mark and Arani with the bone dinosaurs and stuff. That would be a great. Again, cheers, guys. Thanks, Gary. Yeah, that makes an interesting theory, a really good, interesting theory. It would have just been nicer if that was, more obvious in the episode than just these bone creatures walking around. Because again, the entire episode is like, why is this happening? There was no hints at the beginning of the series. Paleontologist maybe on the side. Yeah. I guess that works as a theory, but again, it's like, why is this happening? Why was it not set up? It's almost like we've got a repeat of last season where there was no setup, just payoff, but there's no, because you've not set anything up, you've got no payoff. Chekhov was very clear about setup and payoff.
Yeah.
Yeah, so Ibrahim and the Doctor are talking. Then the Doctor compliments him by saying that Ibrahim's a good-looking man, and apparently that's, obviously I think that's a dig at how this authoritarian society only believes in like a straight family unit, a heterosexual family unit. Sorry.
It kind of makes sense with the 1950s look.
Yeah, and I thought
very conservative feel about it.
Yeah, it was basically like, before gay rights in the 1960s and the abolition of the death penalty. It's like that's pretty much what Britain was like up until about 1965 or whatever.
1967.
7. Thank you. I was 2 years off.
Not far off.
Part of the wish world just wishes from Conrad, but again, I think with Conrad, we didn't get any setup about what he wanted from an ideal world. In Lucky Day, it would have been nice if there was a setup to this episode of him being like anti-gay or anti-whatever, but it's like if we had that setup, we would have that payoff. So yeah, then it goes back to Conrad narrating. So he's basically narrating the story, but as the story's going along. Which is interesting, but again, Conrad's got nothing to do in this episode. He's meant to be one of the big bads, the Trinity of Evil, and he's not really doing anything. Much, does he? No, and I feel like that's a downside to Conrad because we've had him be a flimsy villain in Lucky Day, and now we have him just exposition. All of today's social politics turn me to the Zygon Inversion War speech by Peter Capaldi. Very interesting, Gary. Yeah. I mean, that episode, that's one of the finest Capaldi stories, in my opinion.
Yeah. Everyone poos on it.
I mean, the first part is a bit shaky, but the second part is definitely phenomenal. We should just review that.
Yeah, we will review it at some point. We haven't done a Capaldi episode yet.
Leave a comment if you want us to review a Capaldi episode, and which Capaldi episode would you want us to review? That's how we get people involved, Sam.
Yeah.
And then we have Belinda talking with right. I like this scene because I like the fact that we finally see Belinda's parent, well, her mum and her grandma. A great scene about them talking, and her not remembering Poppy being born was interesting because obviously it's like, why is Poppy there? All this jazz. And then we go back to and now we've got this running theme of cup smashing because there's something wrong with the tables. I feel like this is just a ramble, but this is literally me trying to explain the episode.
Yeah, well, this episode is a ramble to me. Yeah, so you're doing fine.
Yeah. I love Deep Breath, great introduction to a new Doctor plus dinosaurs. Yeah, Deep Breath is good.
Deep Breath gets a lot of hate.
Do you want to know a fun fact about Deep Breath?
Yeah, go on.
I watched the leaked version before it aired because I wanted to see it that badly, and I think a friend of mine got the leak first. My friend Callum got to see the leak first, and then he showed me it, and I was like, yeah, this is. I mean, it was bad because the visual effects hadn't updated, but it was really funny because it was like, oh, I've seen a Doctor Who episode before anyone else, but I didn't spoil it because I'm not I'm not a bad guy in that respect. But yeah, it was. Alex, anyone gonna see it in cinema? I don't think we will. I haven't got any tickets.
I was really thinking about it, but
I got burned
after this episode. I'm like, I might sit this out.
Yeah, I was going to book tickets. Then I remembered that, like, I saw Legend of Ruby Sunday and Empire of Death in the cinema.
I know your feelings about this one.
Oh, I left that cinema feeling like I'd just wasted £20. I mean, the ticket was £20. I went to a very, very lush, very great cinema, and I spent money on watching this, and it was dreadful. So I was going to, but I didn't want to be burnt again, and I'm kind of glad because Wish World, it's putting me on. So Gary says no, I'm not, only because I'd rather watch it alone, and he said also
understandable.
He said, I bet it's a good experience though. Watching Doctor Who in cinema is a great experience. Sam, you have Frozen.
Have I? No.
Well, no, you're back.
1 minute.
Don't worry. I thought there was going to be another technical difficulty then.
I just changed to 480p.
Cool.
Maybe it's my internet.
Maybe. Yeah, watching Doctor Who in the cinema is great. but it depends on what episode. I think it's better when it's a special, like the 60th specials or Day of the Doctor. But when it's a season episode, your expectations are unbelievably high. And anything short of that. I mean, come on, I watched Empire of Death in cinema. I wasted money. Anyway, carrying on.
By the way, so did I, Alex. It was a great experience.
Yeah. I didn't get to see Day of the Doctor in cinema because I was too poor at the time.
Too poor.
Well, I guess it was. I bet it was great.
I especially booked the day off work for it.
Oh,
I was doing like a part-time Saturday job at the time. In between college and that.
Yeah, I guess it was one of those where it's one in a generation kind of moment, isn't it? Really.
Yeah.
I hope they put in like old episodes. I really want to see like a Tom Baker or a Patrick Troughton or one of those in a cinema.
I really want to go to one of them BFI screenings at some point.
I really want to watch when the Cybermen.
Maybe the when the next collection box set comes out, maybe.
Yeah. Gary, do you not think Day of the Doctor is now redundant because of Timeless Children? Oh god. Timeless Child, Timeless Children. I mean, the Timeless Children destroys pretty much, if you think about it hard enough, it destroys pretty much everything of Doctor Who. And you can't tell me it doesn't, because it undoes everything that we've come to know, but it doesn't provide anything new. All it says is, before William Hartnell, there were these many incarnations. It's like, yeah, but it's not how the show was intended. It was meant to be William Hartnell was the first, and he lived for so long, and Timeless Child gives me a headache, so I try to pretend that it doesn't exist. And every time they try and bring it back or try and reference it, like in Story in the Engine, it was okay to a point.
Gives it a pass.
Yeah. The Fugitive Doctor only gets a pass because in my head canon, I believe the Fugitive Doctor is the season 2B Doctor. Not to be or not to be. Not to be or not to be. The season 2B. Shakespeare reference. Anyway, let's keep going. The Belinda then gets angry at a smashed cut and runs away to a forest and screams. Did you see that?
Yeah.
She literally a mug smashes on the floor. She gets like really wound up, and then she runs off to a forest and goes.
I burst into laughter at that bit.
The thing is, in the trailer, I thought it was going to be a really interesting moment where Belinda realizes that the reality she's in isn't real. But it's literally just her reacting to a smashed mug. And I'm like, how is this Doctor Who? It's really bad. It's really bad. Anyway, after her temper tantrum, then we go back to Conrad saying it turned out Doctor Who wasn't the only one left. And by the way, it does annoy me that he keeps referencing the Doctor as Doctor Who.
Yeah, it does irritate me as well.
Yeah, because I mean, I know some people have said that Who was his last name, but I don't know. It's just a yeah. Sorry, go on.
In the War Machines, he's called Doctor Who. Doctor Who is required.
Yes.
Yeah.
Sorry, I was just looking. Alex said Timeless Children was a pretty big moment for Doctor Who, despite Whittaker's not so good era. It was. I don't know, Alex. It was a pretty big moment, but it was a moment that shouldn't have existed.
And I do agree with Gary. William Hartnell's legacy should not be tampered with.
Yeah. If you're gonna retcon like Doctor Who lore, probably not great to retcon the fact that the first actor to take on the role isn't the first actor to take on the role, because that kind of, again, it's like, I mean, you can do it with Shakespeare because it's Shakespeare, but Doctor Who and TV shows and films have a chronology, or, you know, yes, Doctor Who has played fast and loose with his history before, but the more Doctors were meant to just be an in-joke. It was meant to just be a production team joke. It was meant to be taken seriously. But Chibnall decided to make it canon. Because all the Morbius Doctors are production team members. So the Timeless Children, yes, you're right in a sense that it's a pretty big moment, but what it does is it actually brings Jodie's era down a peg, because it's basically saying it basically undoes everything that Doctor Who stood for up until that point. And that's why we have only reviewed one episode of Jodie's era, and we're not going to go into that era anymore, because that is like Reactor 4 of Chernobyl. That is not a good place to be. Anyway, let's continue. So then we see the Rani has a glider from Spider-Man, from has the Hobgoblin's glider, and is like whirling away. Where she's come from? Oh, she came from Italy to pick up something for Conrad. A piece of meat, a delicatessen. Why is she doing errands for Conrad? I don't know. I don't know. What is this episode? I feel like I'm going mental. Please let it. Can we not be the only ones to be going this mental? Because I've seen on Doctor Who on social media the Green Goblin, yeah. I swear we're going mental, because I don't like this. Nothing about this episode. There are good moments, but the good moments are just covered with absolute crud. I
You're
feel
just
like
trying
I'm
not to
gonna
swear right now, aren't
Yeah, I'm having like a stress episode. Yeah. The doctor says, "I wonder who she is." And then everyone like turns to him as if he's like spat in their face, and he's like, "Oh, I don't wonder anymore." Again, like So then we get a cool shot of her on the Hobgoblin Green Goblin glider. She lands on the the shot of her landing.
Yeah,
it's one of the worst shots I've seen because you can clearly tell it was kind of like plonk.
Yeah.
When you watch it when you watch it back, it was like plonk. Couldn't we have a tech trap? Yeah, to be honest. I would have preferred it if they just sat in the memory TARDIS watching Time in the Rani.
Yeah,
I feel like
they should have done
would have
that.
been a better. I feel like that would have been a better waste of 40 minutes worth of 44 minutes worth of screen time. And so then she's got this dead pig fat, which the subtitles have changed to pink fat. Interesting. And then we have sorry.
Though wait for next week. It's over an hour long.
But it's just I'm genuinely shaking with how much this is just awful. And okay, the next episode is what 15 minutes longer. Doesn't mean they're going to be doing anything good with that 15 minutes. And a minute of that is going to be credits. So, if anything, it's going to be like 58 minutes long.
Yeah.
Then we have Mrs. Flood preparing Conrad's sandwich. And she seems to not like this, or she seems to be like, oh, do this, do that, do this. And it's like, literally in the last episode, you bi-generated into this person and was so docile, like so subservient, you were fine. And now, for some reason, you completely turned a 180 without any setup.
Yeah.
And,
I'm like,
you just
where has this come from? Kind of thing. Yeah.
Yeah. I feel like she's
out
going
of nowhere.
She's gonna. I bet Mrs. Flood is gonna be the one to take out the Rani.
Yeah.
And I bet that's only going to happen because Russell is going to be like, oh, we needed someone to take out the Rani, and it couldn't have been the Doctor because we need him to be nice, even though he tortured a bloke in the last episode.
Do you think she's going to be like the role of Mrs. Saxon?
No, because Mrs. Saxon, Lucy Saxon, at least had good character development despite her being on screen for like 2 minutes.
I mean, in killing the Rani, just because of that.
I don't know. Do we think there's going to be another shot of the production team picking up a ring with Rani's essence in?
Yeah, then we're gonna get like a series of specials of the Rani be turning into Skeletor.
Yeah. We're just gonna have the end of time repeat, and it's just gonna be, oh my gosh, Russell, why bring Grant Morrison for showrunner? Anyway.
Who for showrunner?
Grant Morrison. If you don't know who Grant Morrison is, look him up. He's a great comic book writer. He wrote some X-Men graphic novels, Doom Patrol. loads of stuff. He's a fantastic writer. He needs to be on Doctor Who.
Oh, he did some Batman comics.
Yeah. He's worked in Marvel and DC for like over 20 years.
Yeah.
He's one of the best writers they've ever had. And he's also a Doctor Who fan, and he's Scottish. He's perfect. Anyway,
I just looked him up. He's written some good stuff.
Well, we're only 16 minutes in.
Only 16 minutes in. How long is this going to be?
Oh, I'm going to speed it up because it's just waffle. The next scene is Conrad and Mrs. Flood talking to one another. Conrad is, for some reason, burnt out from talking about the Doctor. Again, no setup.
Yeah.
And then they hold the child. Then they hold the child. And talk about yeah. I just gosh. Oh gosh. I'm genuinely struggling to get through this. Then after that little moment when and the baby does the ha 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 ha, which I thought was really creepy.
Yeah.
But I did think, what if the child is the toy maker for a split second? I thought that would be fun. But no, it isn't. It's just it's just the god of dreams, god of wishes, even. And then we have a payoff to the Vindicator. I wanted to use that meme again. Sorry, I needed to use that meme again. So we get some vindication from the Vindicator. I hope Omega gets justice. Well, seeing how they managed to crap on the legacy of Sutek, I don't think Omega's going to get any justice. Also, the actor who originally played him's dead, so whoever they get to replace him, I don't know. It's probably going to be like old recording, maybe.
Yeah, possibly. Yeah,
or AI. Oh. So yeah, the Vindicator is the temporal points that they've been going to has been creating this like web of intricate weirdness, and I thought that was going to tie into Story in the Engine, because I thought that would be a great payoff. Setting up that web of stories and then having a web of temporal points would have been an amazing link to those two episodes.
Yeah.
But nothing. No link, nothing whatsoever.
No.
Which was just embarrassing. Then and then we have the scene that was released previously where the two Ranis are talking to each other, and the new Rani says, "I'm not a child," and the Mrs. Flood is like, "Oh, but you kind of sprang for my loins," and she's like, "Oh, that's disgusting." Which, I mean, I don't know why she's so disgusted about it, because I don't understand. I don't understand where this is going.
I don't know where half of this episode's going.
No. And then we go back to Ruby and Shirley. Or Ruby meets Shirley, and then they go to Hooverville. Oh wait, no, sorry. They go to Refuge. To be fair, it looks like Hooverville, but in the present day.
It does actually,
and it's probably just as diverse. Let's be honest. So Ruby sits down with the rest of the rest of the kind of the refugees, the poor and the sick and the vulnerable and disabled. She sits down with them and kind of talks about how the reality they're in isn't real. Which again a good interesting dynamic, but there was no setup to this. That it was more just, for some reason, this small portion of people don't believe that the reality they're in is real. But we didn't have any setup to that or anything like that. And also, pardon me, Tharies is in that scene. Tharies from the YouTube channel Tharies. Giving him a plug, got to support fellow creators. And Tharies has been keeping this quiet for quite a while.
Over a year, was it?
Over a year, yeah. But amazing. I'm so glad that he managed to get a cameo. It's just a shame that he didn't get any lines of dialogue.
Yeah, it was a shame that he didn't. I didn't I didn't actually spot him, but I knew he was in that episode because I'd seen his video before I watched the episode.
Yeah, you can kind of see him at about 22 minutes in to the episode. It's literally just a blink and you'll miss reference, but it was, oh, Gary, I prefer Mrs. Flood on her own, much better solo. Yeah. Mrs. Flood would have been better as just the villain, and I mean, the Rani could have been saved for a different episode, to be honest. She didn't need to be in this. It's becoming more and more clear that her inclusion is literally just because RTD is out of ideas and he's just pulling whatever's not been used from the classic era yet and just dumping it on. It's almost like he's got he's just dumping whatever he can, just destroying the legacy of classic Who, basically. So after also, did you get the reference to 73 Yards?
No.
Well, when Ruby is talking about how she lived through 2025 and this never happened.
Oh, yeah.
The shots of 73 Yards. But 73 Yards was ambiguous. It was never set up whether it was real or fake.
Yeah, I'm glad I'm glad I'm not the only one who didn't notice.
No. Well, I was eagle-eyed because I was trying to see what was going on. And I remember those shots from 73 Yards, and I was like, the great link but nothing, no setup, no payoff. But it was a good reference. And then we have more mug smashing. Carla, Ruby's mum, seems to be a really awful person.
Yeah.
Because this is the second time she's like abandoned Ruby or like called her out. Like in the 73 yards, she kicks her out. Yeah. And then in this one, literally grasses her up and goes, "Oh, she's causing trouble. She's got doubts." Like, Carla's meant to be a nice person, and every time she's been on screen, I've not liked her, or she's done something to make me not like her. Like, I don't understand what Russell's trying to do with this. I'm gonna speed through this. Oh, there's links to Lucky Day when Ruby's remembering Conrad, and there's shots to him. You know, there's shots to him going through the unit HQ. Davies chose well with the actress. Gotta say, she's pretty good as the Rani. Yeah. Let's see. I can't remember her name. Doctor Who Rani actress. Not Kato Mara. Kato Mara's Archie Punjabi. That's it. Archie Punjabi is a very good actress, and she plays the role of this villainess very, very well. But it would have been better if it was just her story, or, you know, you can have a great actress playing a great role, but if you're not going to do anything decent with her, it's wasted potential, you know? And I feel like I get what you're saying, Alex, but I feel like this is wasted potential. I feel like she's great, but everything she's doing is just mustache twirling sort of villain.
Yeah, like Gary says, above the new Rani is a bit too pantomime.
Mrs. Flood makes her look more mature, yeah. Yeah, but I think with like the bi-generation, Mrs. Flood went from being this really interesting person to then being this really flat, like groveling, sniveling kind of, you know, it's like we had this interesting setup with Mrs. Flood being like, "Oh, what's happening here? You didn't see me." And
it's
then
like
as soon as she bi-generates, she loses that villain edge.
Yeah, it's like Derek Jacobi's master. I'd love to see a bit more of him.
Yeah.
But then he regenerates at the end of Utopia, and
I think that works because for the entire episode, you're not meant to know it's the master, and then when he opens the watch and gains the memories back, he turns into the master. But after being shot, I would have loved to see more of Derek Jacobi as the master, but I think it worked better than this one because you had him be this really kind gentleman at the start, and then he's so, when he becomes the master, it's so bitter, it's so vile, it's one of the best master performances we've ever had, and we only had him on screen for like a couple of minutes. But with Mrs. Flood, it's like they did the inverse of that, you know?
Yeah.
It's like, what if we did the exact opposite? It just doesn't work. And also, if you're gonna do something like Professor Yana and the Master, I would have preferred it if it was Judi Dench and not Anita
Judi
Dobson.
Dench.
Yeah, the Dench. Anyway, and then we get a small glimmer of Susan. We get a little. The Doctor's back at home. He's drinking because he's sad, and that's the only way to represent sadness in media. Is whenever you're sad, you drink alcohol. And then you look at the TV, and on the TV, Susan appears again. So where's this gonna go with Susan? I don't understand. I don't think it's gonna go anywhere. I feel like it won't. And if you're gonna cram Susan in, you're not gonna get enough payoff with her. So yeah. We literally get like a small reference on a TV, and it's depressing. It's really sad. And then the Doctor is messing around with cups, with mugs on the table. He shows Belinda that the table's weird. The mugs go through. Belinda then calls the police on him because he's got doubts. Mrs. Flood turns up and takes them both away. And to be fair, there was who was it? I think it was Matthew from Review of Death said about them referencing the line, "Leave the girl, it's the man I want." And I feel like that would have been the best moment to have her reference that quote.
Yeah.
Because why does Belinda need to be where the Doctor is? Because so far in this series, Belinda has been nothing but dead weight.
Yeah.
Like she's got
dead weight in episode.
So why does Belinda need to be on the Bone Palace, the same as him? And why does he need to be there? We're getting to that. And then they set up the Ruby, Shirley, and the other actress. I can't remember her name. I'm not sure.
You play Shirley Ann Bingham?
No, the other. There's three. There's Millie. Well, Ruby, Shirley, and then there's another actress, but I can't remember her name because she's not really that important to the plot. But basically, they're outside. They're outside like Unit HQ. They've got an iPad and they're looking up at the Bone Palace. And they're like, this is gonna. Oh no, they're looking into getting into Unit, and they're like, oh, this is gonna help us. But again, why? Like, why? I don't know. And then we have the Doctor and Belinda on the Bone Palace. They go through the threshold, and then the Rani does this speech, this monologue, where she's basically telling the Doctor her plan, or what's the purpose. Now, I'm going to go to this. Okay. Where is it? Yeah. So all in all, because I'm not going to explain this episode any further. It's really annoying me. It's giving me a migraine. The Doctor, well, the Rani's explaining the plan, and as the clock counts down to midnight, the Rani says, "Oh, I'm bringing back Omega," and all that jazz, and it's just like, why are you explaining your plan? Why is this? I just don't understand. Yeah. Do you have any thoughts?
I was just pretty confused from where this episode was going, really. I'm hoping I'm not thinking they are gonna do it, but I'm hoping they will explain most of the of why they did this and that, and yeah.
You're thinking that they're going to explain absolutely everything?
Probably not.
No. Well, I wrote a comment on, I think it was either Farry's or someone else's. You can look it up. I don't know. I wrote a comment and I've basically put it into a review form. So I'm gonna read out my review of Wishworld, and then we'll go into the final scores before we end. So this is my sum up of Wishworld in one review. Shockingly bad. And it's unfortunate to say that despite me liking a lot of the season so far, there were elements I enjoyed. The alternate reality where the Doctor and Belinda are living a normal life. Ruby and Shirley working together to try and stop Conrad. Not sure what their ultimate goal was because the tablet is just a weird thing. But this just felt like another filler episode that's supposed to be the first of a two-part finale in a season that has shrunk and needs more time to breathe or better set up the finale. The Vindicator has paid off, so that's one of the payoffs.
Yeah.
But the Ranis are insufferable. Why explain your plan to the man who can stop you, who can't remember? Because you're bringing back his memories. They made him remember, but for what purpose? Omega Desiderium. The god of wishes, the pantheon god, and all the mystery boxes set up previously need paying off in 60 minutes. Remember, the next episode only has 60 more minutes left. There's genuinely no way they're going to do it justice. The reality war is just another Empire of Death and will leave people mixed. I love the Rani and Omega from the classic era, but they are both villains more obscure than the likes of the Daleks, Cybermen, and Master, the true unholy trinity, and they deserve their own episodes to make a comeback. Omega needs his own episode, Rani needs her own episode. They can't be together. That's my point. Having them both return in the season finale that already has a lot to pay off seems like overkill. RTD is clearly either living in a wish world of his own. Sorry, that was a good, fun reference. Or he's feeling the pressure and decided to throw as much crap at the wall as possible to see what sticks. The Interstellar Song Contest is worse on a more moral level, but this has to be a contender for one of the worst episodes. I've tried being optimistic. I went into this season cautiously optimistic, and over the last few weeks I've been struggling to keep that positivity going, but now I genuinely feel worn out by it. I can't keep defending new Docky Who. I thought it was a fun.
No.
I can't keep defending this era and feigning optimism when in reality, this season just feels like another case of cope for fans. We've had two stellar stories with the well and the story and the engine. They have their problems, but out of the season, they're incredibly well paced, entertaining, and thought provoking.
Yeah.
But Robot Revolution was just meh. Lux was great up until the meta stuff and then killed the episode. Lucky Day had so many holes in it, I thought it was Swiss cheese. The Interstellar Song Contest made a clear statement on siding with genocide, as the Doctor clearly doesn't make any attempts to understand the complex nature of Kid's plan. I think Whovians have been coping for too long, and that has turned into wishing. We've been wishing for the quality to improve, and visually it has. But the writing is some of the worst I've seen since the end of Capaldi's era. There are Whittaker episodes that are better than what we've got, and that's saying something. All in all, I'm terribly disappointed in the writing, but then again, I've been feeling as if I may be outgrowing the show. I don't know what is what. I will watch the reality war, and I will give my final thoughts on this season, but then possibly I might not bother anymore. I won't be one of those who will drag the show down. I don't want to be like that. If you or anyone else finds this enjoyable, then that's great, but it's not for me. I've been watching since 2005, and I feel like it's the perfect time to step off the Doctor Who train. That's my rant of the episode. But that's basic. Sorry.
There's always has to be a Chris rant at some point in the episode.
But that's basically how I feel, and I don't know whether that's me being one of those, doom and gloomers, or whether that's me just being critical. But I genuinely didn't like this episode.
Yeah, I don't have I don't really have much to say about this episode, really.
Gary says, good stream, thanks. Thank you, Gary, for supporting us. And thank you, Alex. Thank you for your contributions. It's been very great to have you guys, pardon me, giving your responses.
This is actually our first stream that we've actually had contributions. Oh, except from your
last week. Last week as well, with my mother-in-law.
Your mother-in-law.
Yeah. No, it's really good. Thank you for contributing towards this conversation. We absolutely love the comments coming through. Before we go to our final scores, though, let's just have a recap of our scores over the last series. So that is our current leaderboard, but as we've said with last week's episode, we are going to do a final ranking. So we're going to revisit the episodes and we're going to give our final scores, because every week we've given the episode a fresh score from our brain.
Yeah.
I
mean, this series started out pretty well. Then it went on
out fine.
It started out fine.
Yeah. And then it kind of went up and then down.
Yeah. Then up a little bit, then...
Yeah, I feel like we're crashing out on this series. I am going to give this episode I'm going to say a 3 out of 10. And that's being generous.
I'm probably going to give it a 2.
A 2. Well, that is the score, isn't it? That is Wishworld. What were your scores? What did you like about the episode? What did you not like? Give us your thoughts in the comments below. Gary, thank you. Majority feel the same. Good points. I'm sure you will grow as a channel. Thank you very much, Gary. If there's anything you can do to help, like maybe sharing our podcast with your friends or family, giving us a subscribe. Gary gives it 6. Interesting.
Interesting.
Fantastic.
I'd like to
10. Alex gave it
10. Fair enough.
I'm glad you liked it.
All views are valid.
Yes.
You can like. I mean, I like episodes that nobody else likes.
You like Dilemma?
Well, it has its quirks. Like, I like Idiot's Lantern. Nobody likes Idiot's Lantern.
Monsters.
You like Love and Monsters? See?
Yeah.
Everyone likes episodes that nobody.
I love nobody the paving slab. Yeah. The thing is, it is subjective at the end of the day. That is what our reviews are. It's like our subjective opinion. And, you may like something, I probably don't, but that's just how humans work. That's just how we work. So
yeah,
I'm glad you've given it a fair shake and you've said 6 out of 10 and 10 out of 10. I think for me, I have a high bar for. I think I have a higher bar for RTD the second time around, because he should have had enough. And I just give him a bit more of a tough time, because I think it's important that you hold your showrunners to account. And I thought RTD1 was phenomenal. There's not really a bad episode, or there's bad episodes, but they're not terrible. They're watchable. But with RTD2, it feels like he's got similar elements from RTD1. It's just he's not doing it in the best way. But thank you very much for watching. Thank you for listening. Sorry, Sam, did you want to add anything else?
Yes. The stuff what is coming up after we've finished season 2.
Yes.
We've got a review. We've got a review of Earthshock. The classic Peter Davison story. We've got.
I love Earthshock.
My personal favorite, The Demons.
Oh, All the Demons with John Pertwee.
And what was the other one?
Happiness Patrol.
Happiness Patrol. That's another classic.
Yeah. And quite fitting as well. You know, authoritarian society that's meant to be colourful and bright. You know?
And we've got the remaining reviews of the 2005 Series 1.
Yeah, we will be concluding our retrospective of Series 1 from 2005. We will be releasing them at some point. But tune in for those. And also, we've got Doctor rankings and TARDIS rankings coming soon. Yeah,
we'll give our personal lists of what our favorite Doctors are.
And it's not just classic Doctors or New Who Doctors, but it's also going to be like other Doctors, like, you know, Peter Cushing and the Curse of Fatal Death and all those Doctors as well. So stay tuned, subscribe, share this podcast with whoever. You know, just go out onto the street and just go up to random people and say, check out NAWP. And they'll go like, what do you mean?
Not another Who podcast.
Yeah. Right. Thank you very much, guys. Have a great week. And we will see you next time for the Reality War.
See you next week.